The New York Nonprofit Press, the industry standard for nonprofits, is a must-read for over 20,000 New York City and state executives. Those who know the nonprofit world count on the NYNP to deliver breaking news and get messages across into the nonprofit industry. Ads can be placed in our paper, daily emails, or on our website. For more information, visit nynp.biz or email publisher@nynp.biz. The New York Nonprofit Press, serving people who serve people.
Good morning. This is Ron Gold from Marketing Works. The name of the show is Our Nonprofit Voice. Today's show is very special to us because this is the third year of the radio show. I don't know if we've had this many technical problems in one show, but we do today, and we're moving on. But on the anniversary of our show, our first guest was Ray DiNatale. Ray is the executive director of IRI, and this has been a great year for IRI. This is 2016 saw them rebrand. They named a couple of Dayhab centers after two key figures at IRI that had passed away or had worked there for a while. And they also named an associate executive director named John McGuigan. And John, what is it about IRI that was so intriguing for you to leave the position that you were in to come here?
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. When I had heard about the opportunity and I got a chance to talk to Ray DiNatale, who you just mentioned, it quickly became obvious to me that in this crazy environment in which we work in the field of services delivering opportunities to people with developmental disabilities, that Ray and his team at IRI was really on the cutting edge of, transforming the service delivery system to be one that really provided the best opportunities for people. They wanted to rebrand. They wanted to create exciting services that were really person-centered. There's a lot of talk about person-centered planning in our industry, but to actually do it, requires a certain degree of bravery, and that was very evident in Ray the first chance I met him.
Well, I've always felt that about him, and you're coming into IRI at a time that innovative resources for independence was part of their rebrand, which they put a lot of time and money into it to make sure that they did it right, and they did it right. Anybody who looks at their logo, anybody who looks at their brand, the way they put it together, it stands out. Whether it's a $100 million agency or a $1 million agency, if you look good, that's half the battle. You want people to notice you. You want people to recognize you as soon as they see your brand. And I think
we're very excited about that branding. And I came in towards the back end of that process, but I've seen and heard about some of the work that went into that. And I think the real key is when you can get your branding to truly reflect your organizational culture and what it is that you stand for, I think that's when you've hit the sweet spot. And I think that's what IRI has been able to do, through their work and coming together with QPRC, Queens Parent Resource Center, and that recent merger. I think the brain trust from both of those organizations got together, led by Ray, and have really created something that speaks to us. It speaks to our industry. It speaks to the people that rely on us, the best part of 2,000 people every year who rely on us to help them turn their dreams into reality. That branding really is near and dear to their heart. And I think that's when, as an organization, when you can do something like that, you've really hit pay dirt.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what IRI is. I mean, they started in 1994, 1984, and
1984.
1984. Tell me a little bit about it.
So, like most organizations in our industry, there were parents that got together that recognized that the institutional system that we had at that point in our history of segregating people with developmental disabilities and warehousing them and putting them out of sight was really not a humanitarian way of dealing with, people who have every right and need to be in the community right next to everybody else. So the organization sprung up from that, and then we adopted all of the technologies that were on the go at the time, some of which we still operate, the residential group homes, the day programs. We have a really robust Medicaid service coordination system, crisis respite, community hub, after-school programs, self-advocacy groups we're proud of. I mean, there is a lot of very vibrant activity going on for and directed by the people who come to us for services.
Well, it's a job for you to just, it probably will take you 3 to 6 months just to get to know all the programs and everything they do, because they do so much.
I started in July, and I'm still in the process of learning a lot of people's names, and getting to meet a lot of the people who come through our doors. But yes, it is a learning curve for sure.
But you know what I love about your organization, and I've been with them for 4.5 years, is that no matter when you walk in there, there's always smiles on everybody's faces. And you don't see that everywhere. I mean, no matter how hard they smile, they're so happy to see you. It's a wonderful operation that's over at IRI.
I had given you something of an answer as to the reasons I decided to make the move to come to IRI, and there are a number of people in key leadership positions that I think are responsible for that kind of culture that you talk about. And I had known Ray and his reputation prior to coming on board. And James Magley, who was the executive director of Queen's Parent Resource Center, the company we merged with back in July, and is now our associate executive director of administrative services, as another gentleman with a fabulous reputation. And Paul Cholita, our associate executive director of fiscal services, is another person with a wonderful, steadfast history. And just knowing that those were the people in the key positions of the organization, that they want that culture of trust and people being happy to come to work. That was another key indicator in me making the jump. And furthermore, with that, we are involved right now in this huge process of codifying that. I mean, you come to an organization and you see a lot of happy people, and that's wonderful. But we're really taking it to that next level at IRI, and we have an enormous project that's really starting to gather speed now, where we're trying to turn our organization into a values-based culture. So we are surveying all of our employees to get a sense of how we're doing on these key indicators of respect, compassion, self-improvement, integrity, and innovation, which is obviously a big part of what we do in our name. And, working through that enormous project to get a sense of where we stand right now and the supports that we need to put in place to get even better at that is something that we take seriously. So I think, any organization that's willing to look hard at itself and to make the changes and to make a real commitment to getting better and supporting its staff, its employees, and the people that rely on it for services is a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Well, let's talk about the merger. QPRC is James Magley's family started it, and this year they named one of the day habs in his mother's name. James is terrific there. I mean, you usually during a merger period you see like a little tension anywhere that's going on, but I mean, James and Ray do so well together, and James has been such a great addition there. I'm seeing a lot of mergers now. We're seeing a lot of things happening within your industry or the agencies. And, I mean, they have to really look at it and get ready to survive, basically, because with all the funding being down, worried about be fair to direct care or the minimum wage. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and it just seems to me that IRI is always on the top, and they're cutting edge. And when we used to think that, Ray's at this conference or that conference, but Ray has learned a lot from these conferences that he has brought back to make this agency work so well.
Yeah, I mean, I would even suggest that a lot of the conferences are somewhat responsive to Ray's ideas. So that I think that, he's being on the cutting edge means that you're kind of blazing a path that other people are following. And you're right, our industry, we are under siege right now. There are a number of things going on. The move to managed care, the defed direct care thing that you mentioned, and all manner of other challenges that we receive on a daily basis. And I think, for some companies, they're in a reactive kind of mode, and that's not the mindset that we are going to have at IRI. We want to be ahead of that. I mean, just as an example, I came from meetings this week. We have a wonderful relationship with Terry Sapala at Telehealth Associates, and Ray actually was part of writing the grant that started this whole initiative. And telemedicine and telehealth are two examples of us as an organization trying to steal a lead, react and respond to the changes that are going on in our environment. So, medical costs are something that I think most people know are skyrocketing these days, and it's becoming, hard to sustain a system that costs so much.
Well, you go back to go ahead. You go back to technology, and you talk about the innovation of IRI, and I think it was 3 years ago when Ray was talking to technology into the houses to save money on medicine, on how people are getting them, making sure they're getting it. He's been so far ahead of the game that people play catch up all the time.
We've had telehealth in our programs for a while now, and people who don't know what that is, in its original iteration, where it's like technology is forever changing. Its original iteration was a kiosk, that
That's
people
right.
could access. The people we support, people with developmental disabilities, could access, often with the support of their staff. They could take information on their vitals, their blood pressure, their blood sugar if they were diabetic, temperature, EKGs, pulse ox, all kinds of stuff. So that could be done from the comfort of the group home or their home or the residence that they live in. And that information is, transmitted to a health professional that is not on site. And you can imagine the advantages of that, capturing real-time information, being ahead of potential issues, because, as we all know, the emergency room visit is one of the most expensive things. So avoiding that and getting situations handled quickly at the primary care level is incredibly advantageous fiscally and, from a health perspective too, not letting things get to a critical state before you deal with them. And then here we are on the cusp of telemedicine, where we currently have trained professional nurses that have a backpack, essentially, a dock in the box, it's called, that is stacked with cutting-edge technology, mini EKG machines, the ability to use a high-tech, high-definition camera that can record and show a doctor that is at a remote site away from the person's home exactly what's going on. And there you go. We have a scenario where people's health needs are being met in an innovative way, and we're thrilled to be a part of that.
And what does that do as far as the expenses for the future for us, for IRI? We're looking at this, and this is saving us the money because we're not making money like we used to or getting money from the government as much. So we need programs like this.
I would suggest the prime mover for this is really to deliver cutting-edge services to the people that we support. And there is a factor there where there are cost-cutting measures. The DISRIP project that is all the rage has a mandate to cut, hospital utilization and emergency room utilization by 25%. That's stated, that's out there. The state has been very upfront in its suggestion that we are spending too much money on this population when it comes to medical services. So here you are. Here's a wonderful solution. Again, Ray was at the cutting edge of developing the grant, our partnership with Telehealth Associates. I think Telehealth Associates in their project now with the Advanced Care Alliance, which is a group that our agency belongs to, is supporting 2,000 people in New York State with this telemedicine project. And we're going to demonstrate that there's an actually not only just a cheaper way of providing healthcare needs, but a more effective, a way that will lead to better healthcare outcomes for the people we support. So I think whenever you can improve something and do it for less money, I think that's a wonderful thing to be able to offer.
Well, are you concerned, like everyone else is, about the minimum wage going up to $15, and how, I see legislation right now that's going on to get more money for the industry upstate. They have some legislatures in Buffalo that are putting some bills in that say that, this is an underserved market as far as how you pay them. I hope this whole thing is going to have a good effect on everyone within the legislature, within the Senate, to get us more money, because that's what we need.
I think in terms of being worried, I'm actually more hopeful, because I believe that some of the work that the NADSP, the National Association of Direct Service Professionals, is doing, I think you need a certain amount of struggle in order to create something. So, all of the logistics of the dollar amount and all of that stuff is obviously something that we have to pay attention to. But for me, the big picture issue here is really the mandate of the NADSP's mission, which is to create this system whereby direct service professionals, the people who offer the support to people with developmental disabilities, in whatever setting they do that, there is a profession created around that with professional standards. There are measures there in place. There are goals that these people have, similar to what exists for nurses or social workers or any of those people. And that's a mission. That's a goal that I'm behind 100%, because I see the work that direct support professionals do. I see the skills that they need to have to do it successfully. And like any of those other professions that I just mentioned, once you codify those skills and measure and train around them, the profession of being a direct service professional will be recognized just like anything else. And I think if that's what we're struggling towards, then I'm more hopeful than I am worried, because I see the wonderful work these people do, and they deserve all of the recognition they can get.
Oh, that's great. And this year, there's been a couple of awards that IRI has gotten. They were picked as the Agency of the Month for the New York Nonprofit Press, which is industry standard. It is great for them to be picked. They were chosen as one of the fastest growing companies for Future 50 for Smart CEO, and also Corporate Culture Award for the best team, and the best place to work. So, everything adds up. It's good. Next week you're having a holiday party for your staff. You give back as much to your staff, and I guess that's one of the reasons that they do so well. They appreciate it, and people do appreciate it. What do you see Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. What do you see?
Sorry, if we're going to live this, I'd mentioned earlier about the values that are important to us as an organization. If we're going to be compassionate, if we're going to be respectful of our staff and the people we support, if we're going to be innovative, we need to do all of those things. And it's nice to get those awards. That's all well and good. But, for me and for Ray and the rest of the leadership team at IRI, we're happy to have a set of employees who are committed to working and helping us achieve our mission.
Well, that's great. Now, we only have a couple of minutes left, John, and, I do appreciate you taking the time today in your busy schedule to call in and talk to us about IRI, because this is a special time for me for IRI, because it's, that special show that they were the first ones on. What do you see in 2017 in 1 minute? That's all we have left.
Well, I think that, for IRI specifically, it's going to be the continued growth. We're going to look to take on more projects, serve more people with challenging needs is something else that we're known for. We don't shy away from a good challenge, and we're going to leverage our ability to be innovative and think outside the box, or deny that there even is a box, and create the best service we can for New Yorkers with disabilities.
Well, that's great. You personally have made a really good choice to come here. I was one of your biggest fans where you were before to make this move, because when I look at this industry and I look at the agencies that are part of it, IRI has to be one of the best out there. And now with their rebrand and the way they do it, how professional it looks, and when everybody sees it, you know, they're starting to see it. Maybe someday it'll be like Coca-Cola, you know, with their brand. That was it. I think the merger was great for them this year. You know, QPRC is a good company, agency to be with and to take over. And I see a lot of good things for them coming up in the future. So
we're very excited.
You have a good time. You're listening to the Nonprofit Voice. This is Ron Gold, and you could reach me at ron@marketingworkspr.com.
The New York Nonprofit Press, the industry standard for nonprofits, is a must-read for over 20,000 New York City and state executives. Those who know the nonprofit world count on the NYNP to deliver breaking news and get messages across into the nonprofit industry. Ads can be placed in our paper, daily emails, or on our website. For more information, visit nynp.biz or email publisher@nynp.biz. The New York Nonprofit Press, serving people who serve people.
Good morning. This is Ron Gold from Marketing Works. The name of the radio show is The Nonprofit Voice. And today, as we have every quarter, is Tracy Lodell, who's been on more than anyone else other than me. And she has an agency or a nonprofit that she runs called 100 Women Who Care on Long Island. And every quarter she gives away, as one of her prizes, a segment on our radio show. Because she works with nonprofits, we work with nonprofits. This is the perfect show for them. And we have today on two of the major ones. One is the Marty Lyons Foundation, which I love because I used to watch Marty Lyons play football. I hate to say I'm still a Jet fan, even with everything that's going on. And I will be at the TV tomorrow watching the Jets play the 49ers, and, you know, we always expect the worst. And it usually happens. So, anyway, and also Senior Dreams Come True. And Melissa is a friend of mine. We work together on a lot of things. She's with a law firm, Genser, and is that what it is? You tell me. Genser, Dubow, Genser, and
Cona.
Right, I just say Genser, sorry. Anyway, Tracy, why don't you introduce your guests, and thank you so much for doing this. It's just a partnership that you and I have, which I love.
It's been so much fun, Ron. We've been doing this for at least a couple of years now,
That's
I think.
Right.
And I have to tell you that our members at 100 Women Who Care About Long Island really appreciate the opportunity to tell your listeners about the different nonprofits that they're involved in. We've had quite a few on over the last couple of years, and while our organization does get together once a quarter to hear about local nonprofits and decide on which nonprofit they'd like to support for that quarter, that's only one of the prizes, if you will, as you mentioned, that we give away. The other is the opportunity. Yes, that's cash. Everybody always wants that. But, of course, equally valuable to many of our nonprofits, large and small, is the opportunity to share their mission with as many Long Islanders as possible so that they can get support for the good work that they're doing. And today we've got a couple of great organizations with us. Ron just mentioned, of course, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and we also have Senior Dreams Come True. So we are on a wish-granting trip today from the youngest to the oldest, and it should be a great show, great opportunity to tell everyone out there about these two wonderful organizations. From the Marty Lyons Foundation, we have Sandra White, the Executive Director, and we also have our 100 Women Who Care nominating member, Stephanie Ethe, who has been with our organization for a while now and has nominated the Marty Lyons Foundation for consideration for a contribution from 100 Women Who Care. We certainly hope we have the opportunity to provide that funding at some point down the road. But today we have a chance for Sandra to tell us about the work that the Marty Lyons Foundation does. First of all, let me just ask you, Sandra, what brought you to the Marty Lyons Foundation initially?
First of all, I want to thank you for having me here today. It's really important to get the awareness of the foundation out, and I'm so happy to be here today. I am an individual that enjoys helping people. It's a wonderful feeling when you know that someone's been impacted because of something that you've done. And I come from a banking background. It sounds strange, but I come from a banking background. And when I worked for the bank, one of the things that I liked was the interaction with customers and helping them however I could. But as we all know, the banking industry has changed. It's all about the bottom line and so on and so forth. And this opportunity came to me 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. They were looking for a new team. And luckily, they took a chance on me, and here I am.
Great opportunity for you. And now the foundation has been in existence for 30 some odd years?
Over 34 years, yes.
34 years, wonderful. And a lot of people, of course, as Ron mentioned, recognize the name Marty Lyons from, football. But I'm not sure if everybody understands exactly what type of work the foundation does. So if you would tell us a little bit about the people that you serve and what the foundation is able to do for them.
Sure. We're a wish-granting organization. We grant wishes to children who are diagnosed with a life-threatening illness between the ages of 3 and 17. We've been doing this for many years, as you mentioned, for 34 years. And what we do is we also grant second wishes, which is huge. Because unfortunately, while the medical industry has definitely made strides in treatments and the such, there's so many children who are still falling out of remission, who are relapsing, or who are developing secondary malignancies from their first treatment. So then they come back and they say, can we have another wish? And it's so, Marty explains it, and he says, years ago, people would come back and say, can we have another wish? And after a while, he said, I can't say no to these families. They really need it. And so years ago, we started the Second Wish program.
So that actually sets you apart from many of the other wish-granting organizations that specialize in providing those wishes to children.
Correct.
What types of wishes have you provided for children in our area?
The number one wish is Disney. Number one wish, still Disney. It's a magical place. You can't argue with that. That's one of the major ones. Most families, if they've already had a first wish, they've gone to Give Kids the World, which is also a magical place. But sometimes they just want to go back because they weren't able to enjoy the experience. Maybe they were too young. So we'll send the families back. We've done room makeovers. Our latest wish, which is very interesting, the little boy wanted to go to take a train ride. That was his wish. So we said, we'll send you on Amtrak to go down to Florida. And he had the best time. Amtrak really did so much for him. They made him an honorary conductor. He had the little hat, the whistle, and they had something at every stop for him. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's great. So it takes a lot of cooperation from
Absolutely.
Organizations and companies that are helping you grant these wishes.
Absolutely.
It sounds like they work together nicely.
Yes, yes. People always want to help. You just have to ask.
Yes. Oh, that's true. That is true. Can you tell us about how many wishes have been granted since the organization started?
Since its inception, we've had 7,300 wishes granted.
That's fabulous. And you're actually not just located in this area, is that correct? You've got offices in other parts of the country?
Correct. We have 10 chapters in 13 states.
Wow.
Mostly on the eastern coast.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And how is it that your organization gets whatever funding they need to provide these wishes?
Through grants, through our fundraising events, and mostly through the generosity of individuals and businesses. So many people have been with the foundation for so long. They continue to support us, and we're so grateful to have those supporters and all our donors, actually.
That's wonderful. People in this area, how can they help your organization? Do you look for volunteers to help you with any of these efforts, or are you looking more for monetary donations that you can use to purchase the different aspects of a child's wish?
Well, I'm going to use Marty's quote. He says, we always need money, but if you don't have the money, then we'll take your time so you can volunteer. If you don't have that, we'll take a prayer.
Sounds wonderful.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I think that having the name Marty Lyons in front of it makes a big difference as far as Make-A-Wish versus the Marty Lyons Foundation. I think that in a lot of ways people really don't know what Marty Lyons Foundation does, but they know what Make-A-Wish does. Is that a competition that you have? I mean, because you're helping kids, they're helping kids, so it looks like you're really not in competition, but you are because you are for the grants. In this area, I could see Marty Lyons being more effective as far as that, but I think that from a PR point of view that...
Well, I'm so happy that you asked that, actually.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Told you to throw your hardballs.
We're not in competition. We consider ourselves more of a partnership. Whereas they have the bandwidth to send families internationally, we can't do that. They're across the country, we're not. But as I mentioned, so many families come back to us for second wishes. Sometimes Make-A-Wish calls us and says, you know what, a family of ours just called us and says, can you do something? We have to turn them down. Can you help them? So it's a partnership.
That's wonderful.
And you do golf outings, right? You do galas.
Yes.
And, I don't see Make-A-Wish doing that like you do out in this area. And probably because of the Marty Lyons name in this area, it's going to be more effective than a Make-A-Wish. To me, it's like, well, I'm going to give to American Cancer Society, or I'm going to give to the local Breast Cancer Association, Karen Miller, or something like that, or Lorraine Pace, because they're local. And I think that's what you probably would have in this market. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of our local support comes from businesses that are out here who know Marty. And, he's done so much as far as speaking to different, making certain appearances and whatnot. So they know who he is. And, again, his name is identifiable. So we definitely get that local support. Once we moved back to Long Island from the city, I can't tell you how many phone calls of support were coming through. Do you need volunteers? What do you need? How can we help? It's wonderful, the support that we have.
A jet haven over here.
Oh, yeah, it is. No matter what.
Right. No matter what.
Yes. Well, lastly, we need to make sure that the listeners know if there are families out there that are looking to reach out to the Marty Lyons Foundation to have a wish granted, how can they get in touch with you? What is the process for requesting that wish?
The process is you can go to our website, www.marty, M-A-R-T-Y, Lyons, L-Y-O-N-S, foundation.org. We have our applications online, or you can give us a call, and we'd be happy to either send it to you or we can email it to you. There are 4 forms for the application, 3 of which we provide is the parents form, physicians form, and release and indemnification form. And the HIPAA form you can obtain from the child's doctor. And once we have all our original forms back, the next step is to have a review with our chief medical advisor and the child's doctor. If the wish is approved, the next step is one of our foundation team members will reach out to the family, and the wish process planning begins.
That's wonderful. And how long does that typically take? I realize that every situation is going to be unique, but from the time that you receive a complete application to the time that the wish is granted and the child is actually experiencing that, is there a kind of a typical time frame, or are they
It's hard to
completely
say.
unique?
It's hard to say. It's unique because we don't know how the child's health will be during the process of planning. So it can typically take anywhere from a month to even years.
Wow.
Depending on the child.
Okay, and we should ask what your next fundraising event is that's coming up.
Mardi Gras, which is March 11th, at Captain Bill's in Bayshore.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Sandra, thank you. Let's turn now to Melissa Negrin-Wiener, who is here from Senior Dreams Come True. So we're going now to wishes for the senior members of our community. And Melissa, why don't you tell us how, I understand that your firm actually started this foundation, and if you would tell us how that came about, what the thought was.
Sure. First, thank you, Tracy, for having me on here today, and thank you, Ron. Senior Dreams Come True is a 501c3 that our firm started, Genser, Dubow, Genser, and Cona. We are elder law and estate planning attorneys, and as we met with clients year in and year out, we learned quite a bit about needs that low-income seniors on Long Island have that just aren't being met because people don't necessarily consider the seniors when they're thinking about making donations. There are a lot of different organizations for children and for different illnesses and things like that, but nothing that's really tailor-made wishes like the Marty Lyons Foundation for seniors. So we decided to start Senior Dreams Come True, and it's a small organization. It's a small not-for-profit, but we have helped a good number of seniors so far on the island, and it's been really rewarding.
Well, and 100 Women Who Cares about Long Island had an opportunity to provide Senior Dreams Come True with a donation last year, I think it was.
Yes.
Tell us what kind of wishes you're able to grant for the seniors on Long Island.
Well, the donation that we received from 100 Women really went a long way for a small organization like us. We were able to grant a number of wishes, one of which was a woman out in Riverhead whose teeth were completely destroyed from chemotherapy and radiation. And she sent in an application saying that she's embarrassed to smile. She doesn't really talk to people very much, very uncomfortable. So we teamed up with a local dentist and were able to get her teeth completely fixed. She was beyond thrilled, and the dentist also gave his services at a discounted rate. And I completely agree with you about people are always willing to help. You just have to ask. It's really
wonderful.
true. And so that was one really great experience. And then we had a woman who actually flew out of MacArthur Airport. We paid for her to go see her brand new baby granddaughter. She could not afford to get down to Florida. Her son was going through some tough times, so he couldn't afford to fly her down. And so she hadn't seen her granddaughter, and it was amazing because she didn't have any capacity, telephone or internet or anything to even see a picture, which is kind of like mind-boggling to all of us these days. So when I went to meet with her to let her know how we were going to do this, I actually ended up showing her the first picture of her granddaughter on my cell phone, and it was just unbelievable. So we paid for her ticket. We met her here with some bells and whistles and flowers and things for the plane, and she was just thrilled. So those are the kinds of things that we do. These are not, major wishes that people have. People want a mattress. They want, something that's to everybody else is really just a regular everyday item.
But to someone on a limited income, especially here on Long Island, where your money doesn't go as far as it might in other parts of the country, even the smallest wish is quite a big deal.
Absolutely.
So that's fabulous that you're able to help so many people in so many different types of ways. If someone is interested in applying for a wish, how do they go about doing that?
Well, we grant wishes on a revolving basis, really depending on the wish and what we are able to do at any given time. So we ask people, we're always looking for wishes. We ask people to go to our website, which is genserlaw.com. It's GENSERLAW.com. And there is a drop down for charitable events, because we actually do a lot of different charitable we are involved with a lot of different charities. But if you scroll down and you choose Senior Dreams Come True, the application is on the website. And what we typically ask for is that the individual sign the application, and whoever's nominating them, or if it's them themselves, they just give us a short paragraph about themselves and their life and what they've done to give back to the community. We always like to recognize people who gave back to the community.
So is it just a wish, or seniors are having problems paying their rent, being forced maybe even to go into assisted living or independent living because they can't live on their own? Is that above what the charity is? That's not something that you're looking to help them take care of?
Well, it's not something that we can do on a revolving,
right.
month-to-month basis, but we certainly have assisted. We had somebody who called up and just had this mountain of medical bills from a procedure, and she just couldn't get out from under. So it was a flat rate that needed to be paid, and we were able to take care of that.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
We should get some press on that, though, Have your agency
wonderful.
get, because that's something unbelievable. You know, these news operations look for those kind of stories that you were able to help somebody, especially in need right now at this time of the year. Heat, you probably saw the story about the nuns, and they didn't have heat in their building, and they did a GoFundMe page or something like that, and they had some outside agencies give them money, and outside people actually come in, and now they have heat there.
Right.
I mean, these are things that it might be a start from the agency point of view, but if it goes above what you could do, you could help them in that process, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're an elder law attorney, so you know which people to go to for that.
Right. And what I love about Senior Dreams Come True is that, it was started by our law firm.
Right.
And there have been wishes like this woman whose backyard was completely overgrown that she couldn't sit outside, watch her grandchildren anymore. So it was a lot of money to get someone to go clear out this backyard. So we did get someone to come do the big work, but then our lawyers and our paralegals and our secretaries, we threw on our jeans and our T-shirts, and out we went, and we dug up roots, and we cut bushes, and we were out there for hours just working together and helping this woman.
That's great.
That's wonderful. Melissa, if someone is interested in reaching out, how can they get a copy of the application?
It's on the website at genserlaw.com, or they can call us at 631-390-5000 and just ask for someone regarding Senior Dreams.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Ron, let me turn it back to you.
Yeah, and thank you, Stephanie and Melissa and Sandra. And, of course, you, Tracy, for doing this every quarter. We love having the agencies on, usually as this is called the Nonprofit Voice, and we usually work with major agencies that, Sandra's agency would fit in on anyway, so it's good to have everybody here. And this gives the opportunities for the smaller agencies to come on and tell us what they do.
It.
This is called the Nonprofit Voice. It's Ron Gold from Marketing Works, and if you're interested, give us a call at 631-941-1100, thenonprofitvoice.com.